Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
J. garrulus glandarius. The J. garrulus glandarius is a colorful and intelligent bird belonging to the crow family Corvidae. Known for its striking plumage and ability to mimic sounds, the jay is a common sight in woodlands across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. It plays an essential role in forest ecosystems, particularly in seed dispersal. Plumage is primarily pinkish-brown, with striking blue, black, and white wing patches. Size, length, 30 to 35 centimeters, 12.5 to 14 inches. Wingspan, 52 to 58 centimeters, 20.5 to 23 inches. Weight, 140 to 190 grams. A distinctive black mustache-like stripe runs down from the base of the beak. The tail is black and the rump is white, visible during flight. Eyes, pale blue or whitish, giving the bird an alert appearance. Jays prefer deciduous and mixed forests, particularly oak woodlands, but can also be seen in parks and gardens with plenty of trees. Jays found across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. Diet: omnivorous. Jays have a varied diet that includes plant matter, acorns, seeds, berries, and nuts, especially oak acorns. Animal prey: insects, small mammals, and bird eggs or chicks. Caching behavior: they store acorns and other food for winter, contributing to tree regeneration when forgotten. Their usual call is a loud, harsh screech, often heard in forests. Jays can mimic other birds, animals, and even human-made sounds, using this skill for a communication and deception. Social structure: they are mostly solitary or found in pairs, but may form small groups during feeding or migration. Intelligence: as members of the corvid family, jays are highly intelligent, capable of problem-solving and tool use. Reproduction: breeding season is from April to June. Nesting: jays build cup-shaped nests in trees, using twigs and lined with softer materials like grass or hair. Females lay 4 to 6 eggs, which are incubated for about 16 to 19 days. Both parents feed the chicks, which fledge around 20 to 23 days after hatching. A single jay can store thousands of acorns in a season, hiding them in various locations for future use. Jays are often called forest gardeners because they help regenerate forests by burying acorns that later grow into trees. Jays are not only beautiful but also ecologically important birds. Their intelligence and behavior make them fascinating creatures to observe in the wild. Let me know if you'd like more details about their role in ecosystems or behavior. Nuthatch sitta europea. The Nuthatch sitta europea, also known as the Eurasian nuthatch, is a small, agile songbird known for its distinctive ability to climb up, down, and sideways on tree trunks and branches. Its name comes from its habit of wedging nuts into crevices and hatching them open with its strong beak. Size: length, 12 to 14 centimeters, 4.7 to 5.5 inches. Wingspan: 22 to 27 centimeters, 8.7 to 10.6 inches. Weight: 20 to 25 grams. Beak: long, pointed, and strong. Adapted for hammering seeds and nuts. Range: widely distributed across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. Environment: found in deciduous and mixed woodlands, especially oak and beech forests. It is also common in parks and gardens with mature trees. Main diet: seeds, nuts, and insects. In autumn, they store food like nuts and seeds in tree bark crevices. For winter, they are particularly fond of sunflower seeds and peanuts when visiting bird feeders. They nest in tree cavities, often old woodpecker holes. If the entrance is too large, nuthatches plaster it with mud to make it smaller and deter predators. Reproduction. Breeding season is from April to June. Females lay 6 to 9 eggs, which are incubated for about 14 to 18 days. Chicks fledge approximately 24 days after hatching. Calls, loud, repetitive, and high-pitched whistles like tweet-tweet-tweet or DWIP. Their vocalizations are often used to communicate territory or alert to danger. Nuthatches are unique among small birds because they can climb both up and down tree trunks. They often search for insects and seeds in bark crevices. They are generally solitary or form pairs, especially during the breeding season. The nuthatch is a fascinating and resourceful bird, easily recognized by its tree climbing abilities and striking plumage. Let me know if you'd like more details about their habits or role in forest ecosystems. Treecreeper Certhia familiaris. The Treecreeper Certhia familiaris, also known as the Eurasian treecreeper, is a small, well-camouflaged bird that is adept at climbing tree trunks in search of insects. Its unique behavior and specialized adaptations make it an important part of woodland ecosystems. Size. Length 12 to 13 centimeters, 4.7 to 5.1 inches. Wingspan 17 to 21 centimeters, 6.7 to 8.3 inches. Weight 8 to 12 grams. Tail stiff and pointed, used for support while climbing. Beak long, slender, and curved. Downward, adapted for probing into bark crevices. Upper parts brown with intricate white streaks and spots, providing excellent camouflage against tree bark. Underparts pale white or cream. Environment. They prefers mature woodlands, both deciduous and coniferous, but can also be found in parks and gardens with old trees. Range. Found across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. Diet. Feeds primarily on insects and spiders found in tree bark. In winter, it supplements its diet with seeds and small nuts. Treecreepers start at the base of a tree and spiral upwards as they search for food. They rarely climb downwards, often flying to the base of another tree to repeat the process. Their stiff tail feathers act as a brace against tree trunks, aiding in vertical movement. Unlike nuthatches, they only climb upwards and never descend head first. Calls high-pitched, thin, and almost whisper-like. Their calls are often described as tsee-tsee-tsee. Their song is a delicate, melodious series of notes, typically heard during the breeding season. Treecreepers are generally solitary or form loose groups during winter, sometimes joining mixed species, flocks, breeding, nesting. Nests are built behind loose bark or in crevices of trees. The nest is cup-shaped, made of twigs, moss, and bark, and lined with softer materials like feathers. Reproduction. Breeding season is from March to July. Females lay 5 to 6 eggs, which are incubated for about 14 to 15 days. The chicks fledge approximately 0.15 to 16 days after hatching. Habitat loss through deforestation and the removal of old trees can negatively impact local populations. Treecreepers are fascinating birds whose climbing skills and unique ecological role make them a delight to observe in woodlands. Great spotted woodpecker, Dendrocarpus major. The great spotted woodpecker, Dendrocarpus major, is a striking and widespread species of woodpecker found across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. Known for its bold black and white plumage and distinctive drumming behavior, this bird is a key species in forest ecosystems. Size. Length 22 to 23 centimeters, 8.7 to 9.1 inches. Wingspan 34 to 39 centimeters, 13.4 to 15.4 inches. Weight 70 to 100 grams. Head black with white cheek patches. Males have a red patch on the back of the head, while females lack this. Body black wings with bold white spots and a white belly. Undertail, bright crimson red, which is very distinctive. Juveniles have a red crown, which fades as they mature. Beak, strong and chisel-shaped, adapted for drilling into wood. Environment, prefers mature woodlands with plenty of trees, especially deciduous forests, but can also be found in parks and gardens. Range, found throughout Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. From lowlands to mountainous regions. Main diet, insects, especially beetle. Larvae, which they extract from, beneath bark. They also eat seeds, nuts particularly. Acorns, and occasionally bird eggs or chicks. In winter, they are frequent visitors to bird feeders, especially for suet and peanuts. Feeding behavior, uses its strong beak to drill into wood and extract insects. Stores food, such as nuts, in tree crevices for later use. Breeding, nesting, they excavate holes in tree trunks or branches, creating a cavity that serves as a nest. The entrance hole is usually circular and smooth, a characteristic feature of woodpecker nests. Reproduction, breeding season is from April to June. Females lay 4 to 7 eggs, which are incubated by both parents for about 10 to 14 days. Chicks fledge approximately 0.20 to 24 days after hatching. Great spotted woodpeckers drum by rapidly pecking on resonant surfaces, like tree trunks, to communicate territory and attract mates. The drumming is not for feeding, but is a key part of their behavior, especially during the breeding season. A sharp kick-kick call, often heard in forests. Climbing skills, they use their stiff tail feathers for support, while climbing vertically on tree trunks. Drumming versus singing. Unlike most birds, woodpeckers use drumming instead of songs to communicate. Ecosystem engineers, their nesting holes are often used by other species, such as small birds, bats, and insects, once abandoned. The great spotted woodpecker is a fascinating and adaptable bird, easily recognized by its drumming and striking coloration. Green woodpecker Picus viridis. The green woodpecker Picus viridis is a striking and colorful bird known for its loud calls and unique foraging habits. Unlike many other woodpeckers, it spends much of its time on the ground, feeding on ants. Its vibrant plumage and distinctive behaviors make it a fascinating species to observe in woodlands and open countryside. Size, length, 30 to 36 centimeters, 12 to 14 inches. Wingspan, 45 to 51 centimeters, 18 to 20 inches. Weight, 180 to 220 grams. Upper parts, green with a yellowish rump, which is particularly noticeable in flight. Underparts, pale greenish gray. Head, red crown and nape, with a black mask around the eyes and beak. Males have a red stripe in their black mustache cheek stripe, while females do not. Beak, long, strong, and slightly curved. Adapted for digging into the ground and tree bark. Habitat, range, found across Europe and parts of Western Asia, mainly in temperate regions. Environment, prefers open woodlands, parks, orchards, and gardens. Often seen in areas with large trees and nearby grassy spaces for foraging. The green woodpecker feeds primarily on ants and their larvae, using its long, sticky tongue to extract them from anthills. It will also eat other insects, spiders, and occasionally fruits or seeds. Foraging behavior, spends much of its time on the ground, probing soil and anthills. Unlike other woodpeckers, it drills into the ground more often than into trees. Behavior, calls, known for its loud, laughing yaffle call, which can carry long distances and is often heard before the bird is seen. Flight pattern, has a distinctive undulating flight, with a series of flaps followed by glides. Ground feeding, unlike most woodpeckers, the green woodpecker spends a lot of time feeding on the ground, which makes it more vulnerable to predators. Breeding nesting, they excavate nest holes in tree trunks or large branches, typically in mature trees. The nest cavity is unlined, with the wood chips left from excavation serving as a base for the eggs. Reproduction. Breeding season is from April to July. Females lay 4 to 6 glossy white eggs, which are incubated by both parents for about 17 to 19 days. Chicks fledge approximately 0.3 to 4 weeks after hatching. Habitat loss, particularly the removal of mature trees, can impact local populations. Harsh winters may also affect their food supply. 1. The green woodpecker's tongue can extend up to 10 centimeters, 4 inches, is sticky, and has barbs to help capture ants. The green woodpecker is a unique and charismatic bird that plays an important role in controlling ant populations. Its vibrant plumage and loud calls make it a joy to spot in woodlands and open spaces. Song thrush Turdus philomelos. The song thrush Turdus philomelos is a small to medium-sized songbird, renowned for its melodious and repetitive singing. Common across much of Europe and parts of Asia, the song thrush is an iconic bird of woodlands, gardens, and hedgerows. Size, length, 20 to 23 centimeters, 8 to 9 inches. Wingspan, 33 to 36 centimeters, 13 to 14 inches. Weight, 65 to 100 grams. Coloration, upper parts, warm brown, blending well with its surroundings. Underparts, creamy white with dark, arrowhead-shaped spots, particularly prominent on the breast. Eyes, large and dark, giving a keen and alert appearance. Beak, medium length and slightly pointed, adapted for a varied diet. Habitat, range, found across Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia, and introduced to New Zealand. Environment, thrives in woodlands, gardens, parks, and hedgerows, especially in areas with dense vegetation for nesting and open ground for feeding. Diet, primary food, earthworms, insects, and snails. In autumn and winter, they also eat berries and fruits, such as holly and rowan. Feeding behavior, known for breaking snail shells on anvils, hard surfaces like stones, to access the soft body inside. This behavior is unique and often leaves visible signs of feeding activity. Behavior, famous for its rich, melodious song, often sung from a high perch. The song features repeated phrases, with each phrase usually sung 2 to 4 times before moving to a new one. Singing is most prominent during the breeding season, but can be heard at other times as well. Territorial, highly territorial, especially during the breeding season. The song thrush defends its territory with persistent singing and occasional aggression toward intruders. Migration, populations in northern and eastern Europe are migratory, flying to warmer regions in southern Europe or North Africa during winter. In milder climates, they are resident year-round. Breeding, nesting, builds a neat, cup-shaped nest in shrubs, trees, or hedges lined with mud and grass. Prefers dense foliage to provide protection from predators. Reproduction. Breeding season is from March to July, with 2 to 3 broods per year. Females lay 3 to 5 pale blue eggs, often speckled with black or purple. Incubation lasts 10 to 17 days, and chicks fledge around 13 to 15 days. After hatching, the song thrush is a cherished bird with an important ecological role and a voice that has captivated listeners for centuries. As both insectivores and frugivores, they help control pest populations and disperse seeds. Long-tailed tit Aegyphalos caudatus. The long-tailed tit Aegyphalos caudatus is a small, sociable bird with a distinctive long tail and fluffy, round appearance. It is a favorite among birdwatchers due to its endearing behaviors and striking plumage. Size, length, 13 to 15 centimeters, 5 to 6 inches, nearly half of which is its long, narrow tail. Wingspan, 16 to 19 centimeters, 6.3 to 7.5 inches. Weight, 7 to 9 grams. Coloration, head and underparts, white with a pinkish tinge. Upper parts, black with subtle pink markings on the back and flanks. Tail, long, black with white edges. Regional differences include darker heads in some European populations. Beak, tiny and short, perfect for picking insects and seeds. Habitat, range, found across Europe, Asia, and parts of North Africa. Environment, prefers woodlands, hedgerows, scrub, and gardens. They are particularly drawn to areas with dense shrubs and trees for nesting and feeding. Diet, insectivorous with seasonal variation. Primary food, small insects, spiders, and their larvae. In winter, they supplement their diet with seeds and suet from feeders. Behavior, lives in flocks of 10 to 20 individuals, often consisting of family groups. Their high-pitched calls, like surr, help maintain group cohesion while foraging. Flight, characterized by short, undulating movements as they flit between trees and bushes. During harsh winters, flock members often huddle together for warmth, sometimes forming tight clusters. Breeding, nesting, builds a domed, intricately woven nest using moss, feathers, cobwebs, and lichen, camouflaged against its surroundings. The nest is elastic and expands as the chicks grow. Reproduction, breeding season is from March to July. Females lay 6 to 12 tiny white eggs, speckled with reddish-brown. Both parents share feeding duties, and other flock members may help care for the young. Chicks fledge after 16 to 18 days, but may remain with the family group for some time. A pair can take up to 3 weeks to construct their elaborate nest, which can hold up to 2,000 feathers for insulation. Long-tailed tits are highly cooperative and social, often supporting relatives by helping feed their chicks if their own breeding attempt fails. This delightful bird is a symbol of teamwork and resilience, bringing joy to anyone who spots its active, playful behavior in the wild. Coal-tip Pariparis otter. The coal-tip Pariparis otter is a small, lively songbird in the tit family. With its distinctive black cap and white nape patch, it is a common and charming resident of coniferous woodlands, gardens, and parks across Europe and Asia. Size, length, 10 to 12 centimeters, 4 to 4.7 inches. Wingspan, 17 to 21 centimeters, 6.7 to 8.3 inches. Weight, 8 to 10 grams. Coloration, head, black cap with a striking white patch on the back of the neck. Upper parts, greyish-blue. Underparts, pale buff or creamy white. Wings, blackish with to white wing bars. Beak, short, sharp, and pointed, ideal for picking insects and seeds. Habitat, range, found throughout Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia. Environment, prefers coniferous forests, but also lives in mixed woodlands, parks, and gardens. Altitude, in mountainous regions, it is found in higher altitudes. Diet, primary food, insects and spiders during spring and summer. In autumn and winter, it consumes seeds, especially from conifers, and visits bird feeders for peanuts and suet. Foraging behavior, agile and active, often seen hanging upside down on branches. Caches food like seeds to eat later, an adaptation for surviving harsh winters. Behavior, flight, flits rapidly between trees with a characteristic fluttery motion. Calls, high-pitched CC or T-D calls that are quick and sharp. Song is a simple and repetitive PPP. Sociable, often seen in small flocks, especially in winter, sometimes joining mixed species feeding groups. Breeding nesting, nests are built in tree holes, crevices, or even in unusual places like walls or nest boxes. Made from moss, hair, feathers, and other soft materials. Reproduction, breeding season is from April to July. Females lay 6 to 12 small, white eggs, speckled with reddish-brown. Eggs are incubated for about 14 to 16 days, and chicks fledge after 16 to 19 days. Both parents feed the chicks. The coal tit's adaptability and cheerful behavior make it a delightful bird to encounter, especially in coniferous woodland settings. It is known for storing seeds and insects in tree bark or moss to retrieve later, an essential survival strategy. Its distinctive white patch is thought to help individuals recognize each other within flocks,